I didn't expect ASUS to change much from the G750 that we reviewed way back when dinosaurs roamed the earth. I mean, okay, it was only 6 months ago, but in the tech world, that's like an eternity because frankly, the powerful brick-like desktop replacement gaming machine paradigm is fairly mature at this point. But the G751 is kind of like the cat in the hat came back. Same animal, some new tricks. Watch on to learn more. Oh, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of our other daily tech videos. Corsair Gaming RGB keyboards feature precision Cherry MX RGB key switches for 16.8 million color per key backlighting for virtually unlimited customization. Click now to learn more. First up, the core specs get a shot in the arm with the top tier models available with the Core i7-4860HQ, which on paper doesn't look that much faster but seems to turbo better than the older 4710HQ, and GTX 970M and 980M graphics cards to replace the older 870M and 880M with the same 5% overclock available through ASUS's GPU Tweak utility thanks to some non-standard power delivery componentry for the GPU. Which leads us into the physical tour. The overall size, shape, and weight didn't really get altered, so yeah, I still really wouldn't want to carry its 4.8 kilogram bulk around with me all day at school or anything, but the finishing touches got some nice little upgrades and are much better IMO. Compared to its predecessor, instead of a plain black back, we get a nice metal shield around the ASUS logo and sweet red accents on the rear vent covers that hide an otherwise very similar dual fan cooling system, which is a good thing by the way because it's quiet under load, near silent at idle, and the entire outside of the notebook stays super cool to boot. On the bottom we find vents, a subwoofer, and a doorway to another dimension! No, just kidding. It's a 2.5-inch hard drive bay and a PCIe M.2 slot that can be removed if you wanted to add another 2.5-inch drive for RAID or something. Not bad storage options, but I feel like ASUS could have done better with a little bit more effort here. Moving back up to the I/O, on the right side we get a standard jack for the 230-watt brick of a power supply that feeds the 6,000 milliamp hour battery, Ethernet with ASUS's Game First packet prioritization and bandwidth control, HDMI 1.4, Thunderbolt, this is a great feature for a creative pro who wants to use this as a mobile workstation by the way, USB 3 and audio. Then on the left we get USB 3, a Blu-ray drive, and an SD card reader. Well, hold on a second there, Linus. Why would we want a Blu-ray drive on a gaming laptop? Do you expect me to watch my movies on a Grody TN panel? No, I don't, and neither does ASUS apparently. The 17.3-inch matte finish screen is where the G750 series got upgraded in its biggest, most significant way, other than the GPU. Moving to the G751. The G751 now features a 1080p IPS panel that looks just great. Very even backlight, great viewing angles, just fantastic. No overly blurry motion, nothing like that. Yay! Which leads us to the keyboard, which still has correctly laid out arrow keys and nice long travel distances on the keys for a laptop, but has actually changed a lot in other ways. Some good stuff and some not so good stuff. First, the good. The white LED backlight is now ROG red. The spacebar is wider on the left now for a more relaxed WASD posture. Speaking of WASD, the W key now has a little tactile bump on it so you can find it without looking. And now for the bad stuff. The number lock key has been replaced by an ASUS Gaming Center launcher key that opens up a mostly useless ROG Metro UI thing. I don't mind the inclusion of the app because it does at least let you see some system info and configure a couple different gaming profiles with different settings for LCD appearance, audio EQ, and GPU overclocking. And other than McAfee and Wild Tangent Games and some Cyberlink slideshow maker thing, the system doesn't come with much bloatware. But it didn't need a dedicated key, and it definitely didn't need to go where the number lock key should go. And on top of that, ASUS seems to already know that we don't need some random game launcher because they went and included a dedicated Steam button that launches big picture mode for some reason because everyone likes big picture mode on their laptop and doesn't have Steam set to open automatically when their system boots up. We also get a couple macro keys up here though. I prefer them on the left, but your mileage may vary. Having them on the top might be perfect for you. And we get a shadow play button whose position I actually hate worst of all. I fired up GeForce Experience quite a few times reaching for escape, and I'm sure that the last thing any streamer wants to do is reach for escape to close a menu and terminate his stream. So this button should really be somewhere really far away from the gaming zone on the keyboard. But yeah, I mean, other than that, the keyboard's fine, and all this stuff feels really well intentioned. It's just, it's kind of a little bit half-baked. Maybe next time they'll get the layout of that stuff just right. Speaking of baking though, now we get to move on to the best thing about the keyboard. There's no baking at all. It's so cool. The palm rest is only a couple degrees above the temperature of the table next to the laptop. The gaming zone doesn't get much hotter, and even the hottest part of the top of the laptop stayed in the 40°C and change range during my stare at the flare in Crysis 3 test. Holy crap. And the bottom of the laptop was very similar too. I mean, I guess there's something to be said for thick gaming notebooks because cool and quiet is good for your ears and good for your hardware. Performance is a strong point of the notebook too. We did a dedicated video on this already, which you can watch here, but I'll throw the graphs into this video anyway for your convenience. The 980M handily beats out the last gen 880M while costing the same, delivering new features, having lower heat output and lower power consumption, and therefore better battery life. Better battery life. Which leads us to Battery Boost 2.0. Compared to last gen's simple slider to select a target frame rate and control GPU power consumption, version 2 tries to better optimize the whole system's use of the limited current that the battery can provide, usually about half of what the wall plug can do. It also allows separate in-game settings profiles to be configured for battery and wall power within GeForce Experience, so that your frame rate target will be easier to hit and you can use less of your GPU's horsepower, and it all works automatically now through GeForce Experience as long as you launch the game while on battery power. It doesn't support just starting a game on the wall and then pulling the plug, unfortunately. I tried it out in Tomb Raider with a 45 FPS target using the same settings just for an apples to apples comparison at a frame rate that I personally find very usable, and it works. I've actually seen reports of much better battery life improvements, deep into double digits in less demanding games around the internet though, so your mileage may vary with this one as well, but it's a very, very cool feature. I guess that pretty much winds it up then, doesn't it, guys? Thank you for watching this video. Like it if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, leave a comment if your feelings are more complicated than this. Guys, check out the link in the video description if you want to support us. You can give us a monthly contribution, buy a cool t-shirt like this one, or even just change your Amazon bookmark to one with our affiliate code so we get a small kickback whenever you buy laptops or screen cleaner wipes or, I don't know, whatever else is related to whatever's in front of me and I can think of at the time. Thanks again for watching, and as always, don't forget to subscribe.